happy Sunday, and I hope you guys had a good breakfast, but not so good that you guys go to sleep. So, thanks a lot, Rahul and the team, to conducting this session. And I will, I hope you all are ready. And let me start with my introduction a little bit, and then about the topic that I'm going to cover today. And the way we would like to have this in the next 1 hour will be like I'm going to tell you a little about what the role of a product manager stands for, how you can basically the basics of product management and how you can shape your career into it, what are the things that you need to do it, and why do we need to have this role of product management in the very first place. And after that we'll open the forum for Q&A with you guys. So whatever doubts, queries, or questions that you may have, please feel free to shoot that. Okay, so let's begin. And so let me start with my introduction first. So my name is Malay, and I have been working as a in product profession for almost close to 8 years now. I'm a NITT MBA graduate of 2013 batch. So I have worked across multiple B2C companies out in India, like few big brands as well. I started my product career in Flipkart, then I moved to Paytm, then I moved to AirAsia, and like there was a company called as Happy Fresh in Indonesia. And very recently, I have joined a company called as Target, which is a competitor for Walmart and Amazon in US. So I'm working for Target, and my current work profile is working as a senior product manager for like there are no basically I'm creating artificially intelligent bots to replace humans in the Target processes. So that's my current work profile looks like. um, so this is like brief introduction about myself. And so you guys may notice that I have been into product for quite some time. Although I did not start into product management right away after my MBA, I was working as an analyst and then moved into product. So I have seen that journey of transitioning from product, and also I have seen people working directly joining as a product manager. And so I have a little bit of idea about how to navigate this journey, especially right after your college, and how you can get into product management, and then how you can shape your career into that. Okay, so far any questions or any doubts about my experience or whatever I have said? Okay, I'll take it as a no then, and let's start for our session today. One second. Let me know if you guys can see my screen.
Yes, sir. Just a look.
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. So before I start, I just want to understand from the audience today that how many of you have heard about this term product management, and what is your familiarity with this role? Anybody? Mm, yeah, Aditya, you have a question?
No, sir. It's just that I've been introduced to the role a little bit before,
Mm-hmm.
as in with TPF stare downs and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a general understanding of what a PM is. However, I wouldn't say I totally understand the role because the responsibilities itself seem fairly broad.
Mm-hmm.
So the specifics of what a product manager is and how it differs from a project or a program manager, that's something I'm kind of unclear about still.
Awesome. That's a great 2 points that you have raised, Aditya. One is about the ambiguity or the broadness in terms of the role, and second in terms of the difference between project, program, and product. So I'm definitely going to cover these 2 points as well. Any other thoughts? Any other comment, doubts?
Yeah, according to me, like product is, the combination of business, tech, and design. So that is something which really excites me. And yeah, you get to be, what do you call it? Master of, jack of all trades, but master of none. But like you can master a lot of things. But yeah, to be honest, like yeah, jack of all trades.
Yeah, sure. So this is definitely also one of the things that I'm going to cover, and along with that, I'll also give you guys a bonus tip as well. So which is not there in the deck, but that's something I would want to discuss and voice it over. Okay, so let's start. Um, so about the role of a product manager, right? So as you rightly said, product management is very broad. What we know, nobody can define product management in one single line, one single statement. Very period. Like many people have many versions about product management. It differs from company to company. It differs from the person that you are speaking to, differs from the level of designation that you are speaking to. So I have been fortunate enough to work in varied background with varied people, with diverse qualifications and diverse experiences. But still, even I am not able to define what product management is. It's very different for different persons. It's different on perspective. Uh, so product management, if I would want to define in one line, it's something like a product manager is a bridge between the various parts of the business ecosystem. Majority of them is your customer, business, and the tech, or whatever is the technology. It could be anything. It could be software, it could be hardware, or whatever it is. So this guy, this person, product manager, is a bridge between the three. This is something as basic as a definition of product management can be. However, you need not limit the product management as a career or as a role in any of the particular industry. So, for example, how many of you guys know that in pharmaceuticals, there is a role of product manager? Or let's say in a company like say Britannia, there is a role of product manager. Or let's say in Samsung, the Samsung appliances and like Samsung.com, they have a role of product manager. In all these three companies, the product manager, the title remains same, but the responsibilities are very different. But at the basis of it, all these three roles are talking to multiple people, multiple stakeholders, and then getting to ship something out or getting to reach out to the customer to help them ease their pain or whatever that the product manager is trying to solve for. For example, I took example of Samsung, right? So Samsung has a product manager which mostly deals with what kind of product, let's say what kind of phone or what kind of TV that the user wants to buy next. And this product manager will help work with marketing team, with the sales team, with the retailers, with the distributors to understand what is the pain point, what is something, the trend that customer is looking out for, and then accordingly help the tech team to define those requirements and then work upon to create a TV which the customer is going to buy. So that's in Samsung, right? Similarly, in pharmaceutical, what is the next drug or next molecule that is going to be most beneficial for the users, for the patients? So this product manager works very closely with the medical representatives, the doctors, the hospitals to understand what is the new disease or what is the new molecule which can cover most of the diseases, or what now, how to basically develop this new product or this new chemical that can be treated, that can be produced in mass scale and supplied to the customer in form of some tablet or some drug. So, depending upon the industry, the interactions or the type of stakeholders or type of people the product manager works with might change, but the core principle of product management remains same, which is about speaking to people, speaking to the customer, understand what is their pain point, work with the business so that anything or this tool which can be given to the customer that might solve their pain at the same time would be beneficial for the business in terms of profit, in terms of revenue and all those things. And how to work on that product or how to work on that tool, that's where the tech or the like the technical resources comes in picture. So that's where product management lies. This is the crux of product management. Is there any doubt? Any question?
Nothing, sir.
Okay. So let's move to the next one. Why is product management needed? Because if you see, right, let's take a very real time example. So you have seen, you must be knowing about some of the marketing folks, maybe probably in your own campus as well. So these marketers, they are very close to the customer. They speak to the users, they speak to the people whom they are working for, and then try to understand a lot about, okay, what is the pain point the customer is facing, or what is the next big thing that will be very very popular among the customer. So marketing knows it. But then why marketing does not become a product manager? Why do we need product management if marketing is sufficient for it? Because marketing doesn't have the understanding of how to build that product. Probably they might know what is required by the customer, but they don't know how to solve that thing. And that's where product management comes into picture, because this product manager has understanding of every, or I won't say every, but almost at a very broad level, everything what is going inside the business. So I'll give you one very easy example. Like, let's say any e-commerce company, right? Let's say Amazon, let's say Flipkart. So this e-commerce company, the main one-line business model is simply get the product, sell it via the website, and then get it delivered to the customer, right? Now, this one-line business is very simple as we see, but there are multiple other support teams that is required. For example, how will you get the customer? Marketing team is required. How will you get to know that, okay, what is the price that the customer is expecting? Because let's say the roadside shop, or maybe like Big Bazaar, or some like Reliance Mart, it is selling at some XYZ rupees, whereas I'm gonna sell probably at XYZ plus 10. So in that case, there is some pricing team is also involved. And then you have the delivery, which is about another complex thing, which is all about supply chain. How to ensure that product is available at the particular pin code, and how to ensure that the product reaches at the time that the customer is actually looking out for, right? Hey, hi Mukesh. Do you have a question? Mukesh? Okay, I see a raised hand. So Mukesh, whenever you are comfortable. So basically, this product management as a skill set is required to have a understanding of various parts of the business ecosystem. And because this person has overall understanding of everything what is happening in the business, this person can better take a call that what is we can do, what is something we cannot do, and what are the things that will be actually needed by the customer, what are the things that might not be needed by the customer. Because everybody wants to work for the betterment, but this guy, because he has the overall holistic understanding, he's in a better position to take a call of what needs to be done and what not needs to be done. So which is why product management is more of a leadership role from the day one. So in this case, you do not have, there's something called as in product management decision by influence, not by authority. So as a product manager, you do not have any reporting usually, like like you do not have developers reporting into you, you do not have marketing reporting into you, or any other team, as a matter of fact. But still, because the information this product manager has, because of his understanding about the business, that information is the reason the product manager can actually impart some authority or some influence in the decision making. There is a saying, right? Data is the king. The more information you know, like in mafias, like some of the old movies, I'm not able to recall it, but it's some of the old movie I heard this dialogue that the more information that you have, the more of a kingmaker you become, because you know things, you know people, you know stuff. Similarly, product management is same like that. Because you know knowledge, you know information, you know data, people look up to you to take decide where to go next. So product management is a leadership level role from day one, not defined in terms of any description, but it is inherent to the role itself. In terms of business ecosystem, uh, so as I gave an example, right? Like there can be different types of industry, but in today's world, even a simple business like e-commerce has divided into multiple things. How many of you have heard the term of D2C? Yeah. So D2C is, as we know, direct to consumer. It's an evolution of B2C, which is business to consumer. So I don't want to get into the what is the difference between B2C and D2C, but what I'm trying to say here is that the businesses are evolving. There's a lot of complexities that is getting into thing. There are a lot of teams that are working together to get the business successful. That's the cross functionality of it, right? So in this all complex diverse situation, you need one person who can see the trend across and then generalize it and then make it a proper direction for the entire team to work upon. Because again, the exam marketing would want to have some very short term goals. That's what happens in most of the companies today. Marketing always prefers short term goals because that's what gives them the immediate spike in the metric that they are capturing for. However, a product manager knows that maybe I can give a 10% discount today, but I cannot sustain that 10% discount for, let's say, 2 years. So I need to make my product good enough that the customer comes back again and again, even without the discount. So that's the level of understanding product manager has to understand the business and then give a direction to everyone. Okay. So this is one of the Gartner report I was reading, and I really liked it. So previously we were saying it was very simple business, tech, and consumer, but now if you see, product management covers everything. Whatever is under the sun in the business, the product manager has to understand everything. So now when we talk about the why product management is needed, I also want to touch upon uh, what does a product manager does actually. Like, it's not just all gas, like all giving lots of gyan without having any content. So that's not the reality. In reality, a product manager is required to have that clarity that everybody is attracted towards it. So that's why we say a term called as PM drives the clarity. If you are a product manager, if you yourself are not clear of what you want to do, nobody else will be believing in you. So else will have the clarity. So an ideal PM should be the one, if he goes in a meeting room, everybody looks up to him, hey, what do we do next? That's the level of clarity the PM has to drive. So this is the key responsibility of a PM. Right? Now, how a PM can drive this kind of clarity? Because business is as much as product as much as people. So, and every person, every people in this world have their own views or have their own opinions about anything, and nobody's right, nobody's wrong, right? Because everything is contextual, everything depends. So in that case, how does this PM drives the clarity? By using frameworks. Why framework? And okay, first of all, what is framework? So for example, how many of you here, when you start a project or when you start any, say, chapter, think about this question, that what am I gonna do with this, whatever you're doing? Okay, let's say your summer intern project, right? You would have created your internship project report. I'm very sure every one of you would have started with a term called as objective. Why do you think you use the word objective? Right? Any idea? Any thoughts? Anyone? Feel free to jump.
Well, in the case of a project, I'd say, um, if you don't have an objective from the beginning of your project, you don't know where you're going to go with the project. So that's why you need to have it defined beforehand.
Yes. True. Awesome. And this is exactly one of the framework that you are using in your life without even recognizing it. A framework is nothing but you are structuring your own thoughts so that you can proceed in step one, step two, step three, step four ways, so that you don't get lost or distracted in the way. Framework is just that. That's called a framework. So as a product manager, you have to have your own framework. You can buy it, you can borrow it from somebody else, you can create your own, doesn't matter. What matters is that you should be clear or structured in your thoughts so that you have the clarity, so that you can drive the clarity among all the stakeholders. So that's why framework is important. So you need to know what are the steps that you are going to take your product from this level to that level, right? And there is saying which I have mentioned here, is structures drive behavior. This is one of the things, one of the saying which I believe like since quite early, that in case of people, in case of business, which is mostly about people, the more structured you are, the more clarity you will behave, you'll have. Why? Because if, let's say, how many of you have ever been to any of the manufacturing company or the shop floor, or like where the production happens, production floor? If you have not, then please, I will ask you guys to go to YouTube, see any of the production assembly, or any of the car, let's say car manufacturing assembly. You will see that everything is properly defined, that what is this tool, how much time will it take for for the worker to work on that machine with that tool, then what is the next step, how will everything will come in one single place. And that's how the production line works. Everything is defined in a structure. There is a structure to every nut and bolt that is being screwed in that particular car, right? So that's the level of structures. After a certain point of time, the worker who's working there, he just knows that, okay, for him, let's say if the worker just has to tighten two screws, he will just do that. He doesn't care about anything what is happening in ahead of her, ahead of them, versus what is happening behind, right? So this kind of uh, making a structure, it defines the behavior of this worker. And because the behavior of worker is now defined properly, as a management, as a person sitting on top, that okay, this process is going to take x amount of time, because this worker is going to take, let's say, a fraction of that x amount of time, right? So this is why structure is very important to drive the clarity at the top level or at the product level. So define your goal, define your objective first, followed by how you are going to achieve those objective, what is the thing that will be needed by you, maybe in terms of data, maybe in terms of any other research. And then define what you want to do as a roadmap, as a plan, which is like for the week, end of week 1 I'm going to do this, for the end of week 2 I'm going to do this. So that's how you define your plan, and you start working upon it. And that's why you get the clarity for all the stakeholders to lead the team, right? Any questions so far? Okay,
Nothing so far, sir.
sure. Thanks, Rahul. So the next topic comes is that when we talk about roles and responsibility PM, how is it different from a project versus program manager? One of the question which Aditya asked in the beginning. So how many of you have read about or heard about this term program management or project management? Okay, quite a few. Awesome. In terms of so project management is one of the most used terms in like today's world, because this, everything is a project. I mean, the companies, everything is a project for them. Like if even if in a minor task, minor workflow, it's still called as a project. So project management is one of the most abused terms, I will say, but it is quite important as well. The main difference between product, program, and project is depending upon the type of stakeholders that you work with, and the type of autonomy or business autonomy that you have. So, for example, I'll take one example and then tell you how these three things differs, and then you can ask if you have any question for that. So, the example is, uh, let's say there is a team of, say, let's say Aditya, Rahul, and Mukesh and everyone. There are 5 people. They are together, and they got a project from, let's say, Infosys gave a like a part-time summer project, right? Now this project is valued at, let's say, 5 lakh INR for a month. What's not? Now for Infosys, it's a project because it requires a certain things that has to be delivered in certain amount of time. It could be a software, it could be a research, it could be any document or anything, right? But the timelines are defined. And for Infosys, they want to have this, let's say, document in 1 month time, for which they are paying 5 lakh to this team of people. This is a project, right? Now let's say Aditya in that team of 5 is the project manager. His job, his role is to ensure that Infosys gets that document within 1 month at the same cost of 5 lakh. The cost doesn't exceed. That's the role of Aditya, and that's why he's a project manager. For him, he does not care about how these things are gonna get built. For him, it's more about ensuring that things are online, everybody is working on time, and the budgets are not over exceeded, and Infosys get the results that they are expecting out of. That's project management for you. Now you talk about program management. What is program management? When you combine multiple projects, multiple small projects, let's say Infosys gave this project number 1 to Aditya, and then gave the project number 2 to Rahul, and then gave project number 3 to Mukesh, project number 4 to Kevin, let's say. And then finally, combining all the projects together, you get to see there is a very big program that is running, and for to that program to be successful, there are multiple small projects that has to be successful. That's program management for you. Program management, if you can say, it's somewhere a little more complex or a little more evolved than project management, wherein the program manager has to ensure everything is working on time. It's the deliverable is not a problem for the program manager. For program manager, the most important metric is that everything is on time. In case there is anything which is going to go wrong, if it or anything which is not on time, it has to be called out, it has to be flagged out, so that Infosys know that, hey, I gave all the 5 different projects, but out of that one project is running a little slow. So program manager will flag it out to Infosys already. Hey, your one of the project is getting slow, so we might get delayed by probably 2 weeks, and our cost may run by say 10%. That's where program management comes into picture. It looks across everything, but ensures program manager, all the project manager works on time. You get all the deliveries on time, but program manager is more like a man with a hunter. Like, like he just doesn't do anything but hunt, like puts the use of the carrot or stick to make sure everybody falls in line and work as per the deadline. Now comes about product manager. Product manager is one step even ahead, where they don't only have to ensure that everything goes online, but they are also responsible for what needs to be done in the project. So that's the most level of complexity. So let's say in the case of Aditya's project, there were 5 people. One of them is a product manager who ensures that, hey, whatever the project that was given to create that document is being done in that particular 1 month. At the same time, this product manager also informs Aditya, hey, this is the status of the project right now. And at the same time, this product manager also informs to like the program manager, whoever was appointed, that, hey, for my project, this no like the, for my product, it is working on time, but maybe for the product number 2 in different project, it is a dependency on me, or so I have a dependency on them, they are going a little slow, so you might have to work on that. So product manager is the executor. Product manager is someone who has the most say in terms of how and what to build, and depending upon that, all the other plans of program manager, project manager can change. So this guy has the decision making capacity, or this guy is the decision maker, the product manager. Was I clear in terms of explaining? Was it manageable? Any questions?
Understood, sir.
Understood, sir.
That is clear. I just have one question, sir.
Yes, Rahul.
Can I ask?
Yeah, sure.
So you explained the difference really well, but then is there a hierarchy to the role? Like, do project managers report to managers? It's like a promotion kind of thing, or like are they completely different
No.
segments?
So again, it depends upon the company that you're working in. It depends upon the industry that you're working in. I'll give you one example of the banking industry. So in banking industry, uh, program manager is quite on top compared to product manager. So there are products like credit card, right? Whereas a product manager might be working for that part, let's say Federal Bank credit card, right, which is giving you some X% of cashback. The product manager will be working on that cashback flow. The program manager, however, is responsible for all the credit cards which is going through the Federal Bank. So depending upon the company, depending upon the industry, the context may change. Till few years back, Microsoft did not had any product managers. They only had program managers, because program management and product management is very similar, but only thing difference is the way of working or getting into the details of the things. Microsoft did not had this kind of definition before, but now they have program and product differently. So usually program management comes into picture when the complexity, because of multiple products into one single big program, the complexity increases. That's where the program manager comes into. However, there are companies where program managers are working more as a taskmaster, and product managers are the one who are taking a lot of shots. In most of the product based companies like say Flipkart or Agoda or Make My Trip, product managers takes the call, program manager just for taskmaster, just like a timesheet basically, you can say. So it depends upon company to company.
Got it, sir. Thank you.
So I won't say like one role is better than the others. It totally depends upon what kind of knack that you have, or what kind of likings that you have in terms of the career. So in terms of another differentiation, I will say project management is something which is used mostly by the service industry, because it's a client based projects that get divided, and that's how you start using project management more. And product is again for mostly for the product companies or the SaaS companies, and program is a kind of a very big envelope which can differ. The size of the envelope can differ upon the size or type of industry or type of company that you're talking about. Okay. uh, so in short of time, the next thing that I want to cover is like, if you guys can see on the screen the wheel, right, that I have. This is one of the things that I have like shamelessly borrowed from Mr. Ravi Mehta. He's one of the product leadership pioneer, and this is also called as the product competency. If you are a budding product manager, if you are actually already working as a product manager, this is the thing that will give you immense clarity on how and what you need to work upon to become a better product manager. I have given the link in the appendix after this deck. So I think Rahul, please feel free to share the deck to all the people. You guys can go through that, and then you will get to understand a lot about the product management as a concept, as a field to career, and what are the things that you might need to work upon. Right. So let's move to the next one, which is about the types of product management. So this is something very contested, and I might be shot as well by few people, because this is a kind of hierarchy or kind of classification which is not very accepted, or not very I'll say like people are not very familiar with. But in majorly there are two types of product management based upon my understanding, and this I might be completely wrong as well. But in my head, there are two different types of classifying product management into. One is getting the type of business that you are in, and second is basis on type of technicality or type of expertise that you have. So the first one, based upon type of business, is B2C, B2B, and enterprise. I have not taken D2C. D2C is a part of B2C only. It's just that the business model is different, but the product management philosophy or the fundamentals remains almost similar. What happens in B2C is that you work at a scale of millions, if not thousands. So everything and anything you do is impacting millions of lives. So in that case, you have a lot of data point to play with or to analyze with. And in that case, you can experiment a lot, because your results, I don't know how many of you are have taken a subject of statistics in the college, but if possible, please do take that statistical mathematics. This is one of the concept that is going to be very very helpful for you once you decide to move into product management, because that's where the entire experimentation thing is based on. The more you experiment, the more you iterate, and the more you better become a product manager. And for experimentation, you need to understand the statistics, the basic stats. B2C is all about experimentation. B2C is all about understanding that, okay, if you have a million users, half of them might be like laws of average comes into picture, the normal Z curve and all those things as a concept. But the crux of the thing, that you iterate a lot, because you have so many users, you can quickly get the result out of it after iteration. After every iteration, you can realize whether that iteration was a success or a failure. And that's what B2C is all about. When we talk about B2B, B2B is like, it's more on the client driven, and you can only have n many number of clients, maybe in hundreds. If you are in a very great company, probably in thousand, but not in millions, definitely never in millions, right? So in that case, it's very difficult for you to actually work on iterate a lot. But what you focus on then is to understand the use cases of the client themselves, and then build a product accordingly. Now in B2B, you have something called as software as a service, the SaaS, or platform as a service, which is like AWS. So these are all part of B2B product management. And then comes the enterprise. Enterprise is enterprise product are something which are used internally by the company. For example, a company like say Amazon, they, I don't know how many of you have went to seller.amazon.com, right? So this is a seller portal of Amazon specifically. It is created by Amazon for the sellers of Amazon. It is an enterprise product. It is internal to Amazon only. It is not being used by anybody else. Let's say there is another product, like let's say go to the supply chain, right? For supply chain, let's say Flipkart has created their own product called as FLO flow, right? This flow, nobody has heard about it outside Flipkart because nobody deals with it. Only the people who are inside the supply chain team, they deal with this product. But because this product, one of the outcome of this product is that you get to see that whether your product will be serviceable to your pin code in that particular time frame or not. This is one of the uh, output of this flow product, right? So this product impacts everyone, but it is used only by the internal users, and that's why it's called as enterprise product. So again, enterprise product is most like B2B, where the users are very limited set, and you have an advantage that the users are just your internal employees, but your impact on the work can impact the customers as well indirectly. So that's your enterprise product. Then there is one thing also called as B2B2C, which is something like a diversion from B2B, where you created a product for your own internal customer, but then that product is being used by, let's say, other, like this Amazon seller portal is example of B2B2C, where your internal employees is using that product, but that product is also exposed to the vendors of Amazon, right? So that's on the type of the business or the type of industry that you are working with. Now, the other type of product management is based upon the type of on the expertise that you have. So here's something which I want to give as a bonus tip. Um, so let's say, let's talk about another example from Amazon, right? So there are people who are very great having a relationship with the suppliers. Let's say in case of mobile phone, right? Let's say Apple. Now this person knows in and out about mobile, like okay, what is the thing that is required by the customer, what is the RAM, what is the camera, what is display, and everything they know about what the customer pulse is. But they do not know that okay, how I can sell this mobile to the customer on my website, how to list it, or how to create nice like a design for it. This guy is business product manager. They know business in and out, but they're not very sound in terms of the technicality, in terms of writing the code, or in terms of understanding about how the website work or how the marketing works. Whereas on the other hand, you have a technical product manager who are so good in code that they can effectively replace any of the developers. They understand how this code block is working, what is the output, and how it is impacting the overall performance of the website, how it can make it easy for the operations team to use this product and whatnot. So this is technical product management. Again, depending upon the industry that you're working in, it keeps on changing. Usually as a product manager, it's a mix of both. You need to have both business acumen as well as technical knowledge. Yeah, I think there is a question. No. Okay. So in terms of any generally speaking, maybe like if I give you a ballpark number, probably 80% of the companies will require you to have both the sides of it, business and technical. However, there are few companies where the role is quite defined. So Amazon is one of them, I definitely know. So they have a role of technical product managers and business product managers. Similarly, there are other companies as well. I think one of the other companies, I think Flipkart also started using technical product managers. So this usually diversification or the bifurcation happens at the big companies, where you are expected to do what is defined for you. Otherwise, most of the companies, they need you to have both the documents. Any questions so far?
So just one question.
Yeah.
So the skills required for business and technical, say the difference between both, right? So say you're switching from a business product management to a company where they want both of it. So is that possible, or like what do they want from you? there?
See, um, so I'm one of them actually. So I do not have a. I'm not an engineer. Okay, I have a science. I'm a, like a science graduate, BSc from the university, and then I did my MBA from NIT. So I am not a technically expertise person, like expert person. However, because of my own sheer interest, and I'm good in algos and the database management. I mean, that's what I think so. So because of that, my liking and because of my understanding about tech, I was able to work with the engineers. In a way, I could understand their logic. I was able to help them in terms of giving the business logic or business rules. So I was able to work with them, and that helped me in my career, right? So it's always possible to move to from being business oriented to get into technical. So in fact, when I joined Flipkart, I was analyst, and then I moved into strategy team, and then I moved to product management. So strategy is basically pure business. There's nothing related to tech. However, I was able to transition my career into product management, and that to a B2C product management in Flipkart, because I had this kind of technical acumen. So it's all about you and your interest. If you have this kind of interest, why not? I know for sure there is this current company target where I'm working. There's a person who is currently working in the finance team. He used to take care of the entire payroll of target employees, so properly into finance. But that guy loved programming. So right now he's working with us creating AI bots within Target for the finance team to reduce their headcount. So totally depends upon you.
Got it, sir.
So one more question. You talked about the framework thing.
Yeah.
So what I think is that sometimes if people get stuck to a particular framework, they might miss out on a lot of things. So that's why people talk about first principle thinking or something like that. So like what are your views on that? Like how exactly we go about having a framework for us?
Okay. So when you say first principle thinking, right, it's just about asking the question of why. There's a concept of five whys. Please note it down. This is going to be very, very helpful for you guys. When you say five why, basically you're trying to understand to the root of the problem, what exactly is the problem, not the problem that you're seeing up front, right? The first principle thinking is the same, the five whys. You have to get to understand the basic of it, the most basic problem statement that you can come up with. The first principle thinking, I think this has been made popularized quite by Elon Musk, but I really love that guy though. But this is something similar to the five why. In terms of framework, right, it is about how you reach after you have that question of or understanding of that core problem, the main fifth why, then how you work upon that why to create the final product or final solution that you have thought about. That's framework. So I think it goes hand in hand rather than a substitute of one or the other. So framework is for you as a person, as a professional, how you are going to work through. Let's say first part of or the objective of your framework, right? How will you define the objective unless and until you know the problem, right? So after your five whys, after your first principle, it comes your objective, and then after objective, it comes your plan, the roadmap. So it goes hand in hand.
Thank you, sir. So basically, like we need to like keep iterating our framework with the product or something like that.
Yeah, iteration is
Depends on the product, I guess.
true. Iteration is in fact, iteration is one of the keys, very very important. As a B2C product manager, you have to iterate a lot to get to the right path, because there is no end, to be honest. There's a term in Hindi, like there's no manzil, there's no final destination. It's all a path. Basically, you're just trying to optimize along the way. That's it. Because there is nothing called as the best e-commerce website in the world. Of course, you cannot reach there. There will always be some progress that you can do. There's nothing called as best phone in the world. It is probably for today's point of time, but maybe 10 years down the line, this would be outdated, right? So it's always evolving, always iterating. So iteration is also one of the frameworks that you have to incorporate.
Thank you, sir.
Cool then. I'll move to the next one. So this is usually how the path of your career in product management will look like. Uh, why I thought of adding this slide, because this is one of the things that I get. asked a lot that how do I shape up my career in product management? What will I have to do? What not? So, depending upon the role, depending upon the course or the degree or the experience that you have, you may land in one of these areas or one of these circles, right? Now, because here the majority of the audience is from the college, when you start, you will be starting either of these three circles. Can you see my cursor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So either you can be an analyst, either you can be a APM, associate product manager, or either you can directly, if you're lucky, you can directly land as a product manager. But this is how you usually will start. And this is a part where you will be an individual contributor. When I say individual contributor, it's like you will not have a team of your own. You will have to work with your stakeholders, you have to speak with them. There's nobody you can delegate the task to. You'll be working on your own. You will be accountable for your own work, right? And then after you become a product manager, you become a senior product manager. And then from here there are two paths. One is a people management path, one is the individual contributor path. Both of them merge afterwards after a certain seniority, which is at the probably usually at the director level. And then after that you are mostly doing people management rather than doing active work. So as a product manager, when you join, you will be expected to do have some kind of competencies which you can go to that Ravi Mehta's competency matrix to understand. And once you grow up in the career ladder, your expectation from the different competencies keeps on changing. For example, when you join initially as an individual contributor, as a product manager, you are expected to focus a lot on execution, basically to work with your developers so that all the code is written in the right time, the features are shipped in the right time. So that's what usually PM does. But you don't expect the same with a VP. VP is probably more interested in, okay, how do I make sure that my team is working on time? Is there any tool or product that I can purchase which can help them? Or how do we ensure that the other members or other business teams are totally aligned and they are helping my product managers? So that will be more of role of VP, which is much more strategic and very less into execution, right? So depending upon that, the level where you are in, your expectations or competencies that will keep on changing, right? So, and this is not a hard and fast career ladder, by the way, because there are many companies where which are very flat in terms of organization, so they skip a couple of steps. For example, the company which I joined, Target, they have PMs, they have SPMs, and then they straight away have directors. They don't have anything in between, right? And then VP and then CPO. So this pretty flat organization, like only like 5 levels. Whereas there are companies who have like, let's say, like 8 or 9 or 10 levels as well. So depending upon the company, it might the shape or the size of the this career path may change, but usually this is how it spans out. Any question on this?
Nothing, sir.
Okay, awesome. So then this comes to the last one. So matching to the what will be required at this level, at these 3 level, is what you should be working upon, because you guys are in college now. And if you have the time, the benefit or luxury of time right now, so you can definitely work upon these skills so that it will help you shape your career into product management if you get into. If you do not get from campus as well, don't get disheartened, because it's very uh, you can get into product management any point of time in your career. I know one lady, she's working with me. She was a analyst in Goldman Sachs. She was working for derivative and like other products for the clientels. And then she moved to Target, and then she became a product manager into AI domain, artificial intelligence domain. So it's 100% possible to switch your careers into product at any given point of time. So you guys are lucky that you are at this point of time, at this age, and in college you are thinking about product management as a career. And this will be more than I'll be more than happy to help you guys. And with that thought, I believe these 8 skills are very much required for you to get into product management and to think like a product manager and make a career in product management. In terms of soft skill, which is more about your communication, more about how you carry yourself, how you present yourself, how do you speak, how do you align all the people. Basically, it's to make a positive relationship any with any of the stakeholder, any of the person that you're working with. You have to have these kind of skills. However, in this uh, the soft skill segment, the 4 things which I felt is very very important is these 4: storytelling, assertiveness, ability to say no, and interpersonal relationship. When I say storytelling, it is about, so as I told you, right, product management from day one requires a lot of leadership. It's a leadership level role. When you are a PM and you are speaking with, let's say, somebody in the management, somebody like a CXO, somebody CTO, let's say, you cannot tell him that, hey, because of some code line number 5, there was something was not working, one variable was not declared properly, and which is why this product is not working, which is why it is getting an impact on the overall revenue of the company by 5%. That's not the CTO is interested to listen to. What he's interested to listen is about what might happen, who was the character, what did happen, and after that, how it's going to get solved and how it is impacting everyone. That's the storytelling piece of it. So which is very, very important as a PM or as a product manager. You need to know your things, and you have to understand what are the things that has to be kept out, what are the things that has to be actually told, depending upon the audience that you're speaking to. That's the storytelling part. Second part is assertiveness. Because as I said, product management is all about like decision by influence, not by authority. You cannot create influences if you're not assertive, because everybody else has their reporters, like report. For example, you want to get something done by your engineer, but the engineer manager is saying that, hey, at back of your behind you, he's saying to the engineer that, hey, don't do this, but you have to get that thing done. How will you do it? You have to be assertive about it, right? And then the third thing is the ability to say no, because you will be speaking to n number of people. Everybody will have their own ideas, everybody will have their own directions. You have to decide what to ignore, what to choose, and have to say no. Because if you don't say no, everything will fall on you. Let's say the other person is saying, giving one idea which is costing you $5 million, but just giving you an increment of say 2%, whereas another person is giving you a idea which is, let's say, like $1 million and giving you like 10% increment. Which one will you choose, and which one will you say no? You have to say no to the first person, right? But how will you say it? In a polite way, in an assertive way, by telling some story about it. But still, you have to say no. You have to reject things. And then the fourth one, interpersonal relationship. It is true to most of the roles in the corporate, but in product management is much more required because, as I said, decision by influence. You have to work with people. You have to make them understand. You have to keep them in your, like your side, so that your work becomes easy. That's the soft skill part of it. In terms of hard skill, when I say hard skill, this is something that you can actually work upon by yourself, and you'll get tangible outputs as well. One is the data analysis, number crunching. This is something will be very much required if you even plan to do an MBA. This is one of the things, one of the topic that is very much covered, the data interpretation and logical reasoning. So this is that kind of analysis. So given a case, given a graph, given some kind of data, you should be able to analyze it and give out some insight which you can use it to further enhance your product. Second one is prototype building. It's not the robotic prototype building. It is more like in a very crude way. Let's say you're talking about an app, right? Let's say app like Swiggy. Now you know that Swiggy has three parts. One is the customer, one is the platform, one is the restaurants. So you can very easily create some kind of mental model. Okay, the customer will be looking at this app, and then they will be looking at the menu, and then will be selecting and checking out and paying, and then finally the order will reach to the restaurant, and restaurant will get it delivered. So this is the kind of prototype you had in your mind, which you can print it out on using some prototype tool. I use a product called as Balsamic, which is a great product for creating UI prototypes. Similarly, there are multiple other prototypes builder, like Canva is there, and then you have InVision is there, then you have Figma, and there are multiple other Miro and every multiple others, right? And then goes the familiarity with the design tool, because many a times it's easy for you to visualize when you actually paint it or when you draw it. You can draw it on the board with your marker as well, but at the same time, you might also want to explain it to other people, right? So for that purposes, it's better to have some kind of familiarity with design tools, as I told, like Miro, Figma, Canva. These are pretty much very widely used these days, and then Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop as well. So if you have familiarity, I'm not asking that go and be pro at it, but if you have familiarity, if you can, let's say, simply remove a background from any of the image, I think that level of familiarity is sufficient. And then documentation skill. This is one of the most underrated skill of FPM. Whatever you say, whatever you discuss, because you are going to meet a lot of people, it will be very difficult for you to even remember what the other person said last week. You need to document it so that you have a repository. Wherever you are going, you can always look on that repository and then again continue the conversation from the last time where you left it. Documentation skills is very, very important as a PM. And this is not only useful for you yourself but also for your stakeholders, in the sense that if you want to showcase to the other what is the progress going on, you can simply open your doc and then say, hey, this is what we discussed, this is what was happened, and this is what we have came far in last 1 month or 1 week, whatever. So documentation is also one of the things that you have to work upon. If you cannot if you write your diaries or if you write any blogs, there's nothing like it. But if you don't, try your hands at writing a blog. That will start helping you into documentation, right? So with this, this is my end of the deck, and there are like two links. So one is the more about the B2B and B2C and enterprise product types, like what is the differentiation, how do people product management works, and then product competency by Ravi Mehta. So that's it from my presentation point of view. Now, if you guys have any question, feel free to ask. Yeah, Hari, go ahead.
So, hi, sir.
Hey.
I just want to know, how secure the role of PMS. So, from your experience, could you say, will AI or is AI capable of replacing a human in the role of product manager?
No way. So, as of now, what I can say, the level of AI that we have is still far, far away from the work that we have to do. As a PM, it's almost impossible unless until you get this, like those futuristic movie type AIs, like in iRobot or others. It's very difficult to remove humans. AIs and bots right now, they are mostly useful to create repetitive mundane tasks, but where the creativity is required, AIs are still have a long way to go. And to build those kind of AI itself, you'll require a lot of product thinking, a lot of iterations, which again will be required for PM. So from the career point of view, I don't see PM as a role going away for the next 20, 30 years.
Got it, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Rahul, any question?
Yeah, sir. That was a really great, insightful talk. I had just a one doubt.
Hmm.
So, like you talked about how PMs in different industries, like a lot of pharma industry and all, where we didn't even know that existed. If you want to switch industries, how much effort does it take, or what are the extra things you need to switch role, the same PM role, but in different industry? Like I said, it's all they have different roles in different industries.
True. So I think you answered your own question, Rahul. So depending upon the type of industry, you have to have those business acumen so that you are relevant in that industry. For example, I took example of the banking industry versus, let's say there's a person who's working in banking and the credit card, and he wants to move into product management in say fintech firm, let's say Paytm. Now that is a very relatable business, right? Because you're working from bank and then coming to fintech, it is quite relatable. But if you expect somebody working in, let's say, a bank and then asking him to come and start working for, let's say, flights or let's say hotels, it's very, very unrelated. You can justify if you have interest in hotel, if you have knowledge about the hotel industry, if you have knowledge about how the hotel value chain works, it is definitely a give solid advantage. But it becomes difficult. So what usually people do is that they do marginal steps. So one of my friend, he's the PM of NPCI. He was the PM of NPCI, the UPI product that you use, right? His team built that product, and right now he has a thorough product understanding. Like he know, sorry, thorough payment understanding. He know about payment system, payment ecosystem in and out. Today he's working in Booking.com, but he did not reach there directly. From NPCI, he came to a company where he was creating payment system for this particular big hospital chain. From there, he came to Paytm Money, which is a fintech company. And from Paytm Money, he went to a bank, and from bank, he went to Booking. And in Booking, he's handling the payment system of Booking.com. So you just transition your career step by step rather than doing one single leap of jump. But yes, it is definitely possible for you to change your career, or sorry, change your industry, depending upon how much business acumen you have and how have you planned your transition. Okay. um, Next question, in code
Yeah.
3.
Good afternoon, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can loud and
Yeah. First of all, thank you for the session, sir. It was very helpful, especially the difference between project and program manager.
clear.
I'm fourth year student Satyamurthy. I got placed in Microsoft as a SD, sir. So I'll be starting my career as a SD, but I'm more interested in product management. So how difficult it is to shift from SD to product management, and is MBA necessary? Like I'm a bit confused here.
MBA is not necessary, I'll be very honest. However, what MBA does to you is to just add a catalyst. Like in the chemical reaction, there is something, a work of catalyst, right? Which does not
Right.
itself take part in reaction, but just increases the rate of it.
Mhm.
Similarly, MBA is a catalyst. You
Mhm.
can move from software developer to a product analyst to a APM to PM. It might take you some time, maybe like say 5 6 years.
Okay.
Doing an MBA, it takes you 2 years and get you into product management directly.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Aditya.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you get this question a lot, and I ask this question at every PM talk I'm in to get some clarity about. So, as a second year, like we have a few companies who will be coming for PM interns
Mhm.
as well. So, working on those soft skills that you talked about, all of that is something that we can definitely do. However, I would assume that companies would also be looking for some amount of experience working in PM roles, maybe working in maybe over your summer in your second year, maybe those interns. So, how would you go about as a second year applying to these interns, or what avenues can you choose to apply? Because PM is a role that I want to get into. So, how do I get started with doing that?
So as a PM intern, right, you will be mostly working on the hard skills rather than the soft skills, to be honest, because in most of the companies, interns are not, I won't say allowed, but not encouraged to meet a lot of people because interns are temporary, right? And for that purpose, they will ask you to go and speak around to all of people. But in terms of work wise, it will be not that significant of an impact, and that's why soft skill is something that you can learn on the go. However, what as an intern you can work upon is to, even in whatever like interns what you're getting, like not even related to product, but you can definitely focus upon two things. One is prototyping, second is documentation. If you do these two things, you'll have higher chances to convert a product internship, right? Why? Because as an intern, think from the company point of view, right? You are a temporary guy, you are a temporary employee, you will be leaving in some time. So the company cannot entrust you with the company secrets, or like where the knowledge which is going to be used by the company for the next 4 5 years, because you are not going to be there. So they will not give you those tasks which are very much strategical in nature. They will give you the task which is much more hands on, or much more which is required by everyone, but not many focus on them. Documentation is one of the thing. Prototyping is one of the thing, because when I say prototyping, it includes the prototyping plus a little bit of designing as well, right? If you do these things, then you can prove yourself as a right asset to the company. So I'll ask you to, whatever interns that you're getting, internship that you're getting right now, focus on these areas and use it to create a portfolio to pitch for yourself in the fourth year when you get a product internship.
Understood, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, next one, Ananda. Ananda Krishna.
Uh, Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah.
First of all, sir, thank you for the great speech you given, sir. Giving me some clarity about what product management is and what is it all about. So one thing I'm always a bit curious about is right now, how do you think about what I've heard from the industry is like there are some books you can like give some clarity about what the technical side of product management, the business side, and the financial aspect of it. Like, do you have any books in your mind? Like, do you have any book reference for that?
Good that you ask. I have a list of it. I'm just gonna share it here. Just give me a moment. I'm just looking at it right now. So here you go, the list of the books. This is what I loved, by the way.
Yes, sir. I'll look through this book, sir. Thank you, sir.
In this one, if I may give you some suggestion, definitely go for 0 to 1. That's your first thing to work with, and design for everyday things. These two are like evergreen books, like mechanical. And then mind for numbers is also one of the things that you should work for, because this will give you an understanding about how to crunch the data in a way that you can get the insight of it. So these three books definitely you should work. And then this blue ocean strategy, it is more of a strategy piece, but this is also quite a great book actually.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. And so this is something like I preferred, like these books, these are in my like all-time reading list, because I have read them, but again I love to read them. And the why I have them, because they might not directly work with in terms of product management career, but they do give you a lot of clarity in terms of your profession. So there are a couple of books which I saw that they might not be the direct correlation with the product management as a career, but they still helps you. Anyway, next question, Hema Sri Kota. Am I pronouncing your name correct?
Yes, sir, it's Himashi. And thank you for the session. First of all, it was really informative.
Sure.
And my question is not totally related to the topic, but what is your opinion on MIMs?
Opinion on, sorry?
MIMs, Masters
Uh,
in Management.
oh, Master's in okay. Um, Up to you if you want to do. So again, as I told you, right? Like I think I was answering the question to Hari. It's a catalyst. So product management is a thing that cannot be taught in any of the school, any of the course. If anybody is teaching that, it's a sham. It's a quackery. Uh, Product management is a thought process. It's product management is all about uh, the way you see things and the way you work towards it. As a matter of fact, I say if you are a generalist, it is very easy for you to get into product management, because I think somebody said, Aditya said, right? Like jack of all trade, master of none. Because you know everything, something about everything, it helps you to get into product management. MBA just gives you a catalyst to get into that career path sooner than before, sooner than earlier. That whatever path you would have choose, doing an MBA, because while doing the MBA, you meet a lot of people, you work on a lot of business cases, you get to understand the business from a very, like very specific management lens. That helps you once you become a, like a product manager. So I will say MBA is a master's management is more of a catalyst, but it is not a mandatory thing for you to get into product management.
Yes, sir, I understand. Thank you.
So one of the companies called as Udan in Bangalore, which is like into the like B2B vendor, B2B marketing. Sorry, uh, the small and retail business supply chain based company. Say they do not promote product managers. They promote product engineers. So basically, most of the PMs there are actually engineers who are also multi-hatting as a product manager. So they know their code and they also know their users, and that's why they are better able to help the business. So there are companies like that as well, where you don't exactly need an MBA. Being an engineer is also sufficient for you. But MBA
Makes sense.
catalyst. Yeah,
That makes sense when the core of the company is technology.
yeah, exactly. I mean, like most of the consumer tech companies have tech as their core, but still they prefer
Mhm.
product managers, because at the end of the day, it's a healthy balance between business users and tech, right?
I understand. Thank you.
Okay, product folks and IT.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one last question, like when talking about a company like Target, which is not really a tech company, and comparing it with other companies like Paytm Money and Flipkart where you have worked, like how different is the product environment? Like as in how like quickly the product iteration cycle works, or how much freedom as a PM do you have?
Um, okay. It's very different in the sense that, again, depending upon the type of growth phase that you are in. So I'm not sure if you guys have know, but this book of Peter Thiel, 0 to 1, it gives you this concept of 0 to 1 product management, 1 to 10, and then 10 to 100, and then 100 to 100.1. So depending upon the phase of your business you are in, you will have the autonomy, or you'll have the chances of failing or chances of iteration. For example, when I was working Paytm Money, I was the third PM to join the team long before the app was launched. So anything related to mutual funds on Paytm Money, that I have done, like, by my own hands. So at that time I had a lot of liberty, a lot of, iterations, a lot of creative freedom, I will say. However, compare that to what I have now in Target, because Target is already in 100 to 100.1 business phase, where a lot of things have already been iterated upon. Now it's what extra that you can do to get that 1.1% of the business, right? So there's not a lot of autonomy, because there's a lot of past baggages, like the system has to work in certain way, that you have to get approvals from X many teams and all those things. So those are kind of limitations are there. But at the same time, there are people who actually enjoy this kind of creative limitation, because that's gives you more you have to flex more of your brain to come out with creative solutions. So it's a kind of depends upon what you like. But in terms of difference, yes, there's a stark difference in terms of freedom, in terms of autonomy, in terms of how the things were moving so fastly, because it was a very small team, like let's say 20 people back then. But here right now I'm working in India itself, there's 4,000 people, and in the US I don't know how many. So, like, depending on number of people, number of processes, number of approvals, bureaucracy, administrative things, there are cons, but at the same time there are pros as well.
Thank you, sir. So basically, like, shipping out a new feature will take a lot more time. Okay,
Definitely.
to do that.
So there's a joke, right? In Microsoft, one of my friend's friend, he joined Microsoft, and he gave a requirement to change or add one of the fonts in Microsoft Outlook, and the estimate that was given to him was of 6 months, 2 quarters. I could have done the same thing in Paytm Money probably in half a day.
Yeah.
But then again, because it is Microsoft, we are talking about people in billions who are using Microsoft Outlook, right? So
Mm.
anything which goes into the product has to be thoroughly tested, thoroughly thought through, what is going to be the impact and whatnot. So it takes time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So are there any more questions, anyone? I don't think there are any more questions. So would like to thank Malayshree sir for sharing such valuable insights, and thank you everyone for joining. I hope the session has provided valuable insights into the role of a product manager. It has been a pleasure today to be with you, sir. And this concludes the second talk of our guest lecture series, and we'll be having a PM workshop on Monday, and we'd like to see everyone there. The venue is GJCH Hall 1, and it will be at 6 p.m. So with that, we'd like to bid farewell to sir and to everyone. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot, product folks. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.